We got us a Copper Canyon in here. You can see we got all the scaffold all together. We got to get the front ones on here. But we're going to go up and take a look at it and see just how much moron the moron got on. Copper Canyon. What do we got? Dadgum, they done slobbered moron. And it didn't work. Look at there. Can you see that? Boing, 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 boing. All the way here. I'm guessing he's got a little bit of rot right here. I'm guessing. So what happens is, especially on these designs, I don't really like them. I don't like this design, and I'm going to change it. So all your water comes down. It does have camber. So it's going this way and going this way. It collects right here. Ta-da. That's right. I am the Sherlock Holmes of RV roofing. I know it. I can detect it. But that's what the RV industry wants you to do. They exploit people's ignorance through roof systems. Got a nice scratch right here. Over there. I'll bet that leaked. I know it. But I'm a detective. Got a broken housing. Got excessive bird shit on the top. Yep. So, but what the RV industry wants you to do is just go around and put more on. More on. They exploit people's ignorance to roof systems. Look at here. This doesn't even stick. Okay, that don't stick. It's just all silicone, and certain products won't stick to other products. You know. You see all that fracturing right there? This is basically your self-leveling that's failing. That's what it is right here, and those will open up, those fractures will open up to where you get some moisture in there, and then the moisture causes another problem and more rot. If you're looking at your roof and you have, I call this eggshelling in a commercial industry, commercial roof industry, especially on like a tar and gravel built up roofs, you'll see these big checks in there, big ones, and they call it gatoring because it almost looks like the back of an alligator. This looks more like an eggshell when you have a hard-boiled egg and you're about to crack her open. That's what it looks like. So I call it eggshelling. Some people call it spidering, and I guess it depends on your day and the coffee you're drinking. Once you see that though, that's the end. That's it. Put a new roof on it. And a lot of people say, well, I can put a coating on there. Coatings are not designed to stop leaks. They're designed to reflect UV light. That's what they were designed for. So. And also these things move around way too much. That rack, twist, and flex. Those coatings that they talk about are designed for commercial flat roofs that aren't moving 70 miles an hour down the interstate. So you can see all the issues we got up here. Well, it looks like we got a little bit of work ahead of us. Just looking at this, I can tell we probably got some rot under there. That doesn't sound so bad. Now, that back section, I wouldn't be surprised. We obviously may have some trusses to put in there. And got us a little radio antenna. I don't know if that's going to work. Now, if you got one of these crank ups right here, if you have one, right here, I'm going to see if I can zoom in nice and easy. Got a little boot. You want to seal the top of that boot and the bottom of that boot. When you slide that boot off, it will go right into the roof. That's the hole for the wire to come up for this antenna. So you want to put some on the top so the water doesn't trickle down that wire through the boot into the roof. And obviously seal the bottom as well. That may help you there. And then we don't put these back on, so I don't know what we have for an antenna. We'll reach out to the customer and find out what we have, but to replace it with. But there's a shaft that goes down through the actual roof cavity, through the ceiling panel, and then there's a little crank handle. And the problem is if I put that up on a curb elevated at all to do it properly, that little crankshaft is going to be above the ceiling panel. You won't be able to get the handle on there. So we tell folks to get a nut in. Get a nut in. So let's see. I think that's about all we got so far. I mean, I could open this up. I don't know what the benefit would be, but there it be. You can see how beautiful that is. Good morning. Voila. Oh, gee whiz. Feels like went down to the ceiling panel. I have to check all that out. I'll have to check the inside. Let me get around here. We're trying to get this all prepped up. So we can start working on it. That's what these boards are for. They'll go over here and then we get the front on there. I'm just trying to do a quick video so they can get to work. Get a whole split up awning. Then we're going to end up putting boots in here. Look how wobbly that is. See the whole ladder? Well, we're going to try and fix that nonsense. That's for sure. And obviously the awning is all ripped up. AC cover ripped up. Something hit that. I wonder if some of this damage came from a storm. I don't know. Can't remember. Another crack there. Look at this skylight lens. You see all this? Don't even bother doing this. This whole lens got to go. See all the cobwebs on there? That's because we had it in our storage building. And it's still probably got damage under it for sure. I wouldn't be surprised it's still wet under there. So, alright, there's us. There's our Copper Canyon. All decals starting to wear off on this. So watch out, make sure there's no wasps in there. Okay, let us get to work. We showed you what we got. Your typical RV roofing. We were going to get it right. I don't know if we're going to get one sheet to come all the way up and go down and do all that. It's possible. Possible. Don't know, but we're going to try. If not, we just weld the front sheet right there at the first vent. I may weld that. We'll see what we can do. Onward and upward. These are some plates that they put down so they wouldn't put a screw through it. That's a good idea for sure. But like the inside there, that's what they call a ferrule. Look how tight these wires are. Let's take a look at them. See, they can get compromised. This one isn't too bad. Let's see these ones if we can see them. But they really should have some bushings in them, and the bushings are pennies. So when I say these manufacturers will not spend one more red cent, it's really the truth. So this is one of the ferrules, and inside here it just gets sharp, and that's what irritates the insulation. So you get the roof put on, everything's all set, customer drives away, goes to go camping, goes to plug something in, and it doesn't work. And I go, hey, you put a screw through something, and probably one of these wires. That's why we take the whole deck up and check everything. You can see how much rot we have. This whole back wall is trashed, the whole entire wall. So obviously I got problems with that truss. You can see over here on this one, the other end of it is all rotted. All the way down there is all rotted. This thing is a mess. So we got to take the back wall off, rebuild the back wall, and then right now we're trying to get all of this decking up. Once the decking comes up, we can inspect it. We'll take all the insulation out, and we'll check all the trunk lines right here. That's what we're going to be looking for. Got one more piece we got to get right there. But we'll be checking these trunk lines and making sure everything is all set, like right inside there, and then obviously on the other side as well. We'll check all that. We want to make sure everything's all set before we just put it all back together. So we're going to be looking for these type of trusses here. Obviously they're wood. Some other ones are OSB or some sort of composite, where if you put a screw in, those ones would be okay. But if you were to try to cinch all this up with screws, you'd split that right down the middle. So you can see they've got some staples in them. I don't think they have very many staples in them. They've got staples in them, and there's no glue. And you need to have all that. That's what holds it together. So this thing is racking and flexing all over the place, which causes all the caulking to loosen up, and then that's how you get all this damage. It's just, you know, everything works in concert with something else, so you have to pull it all together to get the symphony. And that's what we're doing. So we're still getting all this here. Like I said, we're going to be checking for everything, make sure all these trusses are good, make sure they're not split, you know, too bad. But this isn't the end of the world right here, but if it had more than that, we may have to reinforce it. So All right, let's start getting some of this all cleared off, and we'll show you more.
What we did here, this is all rotted. So we sprayed it down. It was a little wet anyways, but we sprayed it all down with mold kill. That's going to kill it immediately. The product that we use, it will kill it. So we don't have to worry about it going airborne or anything like that. We just, if there is any mold in there, and sometimes you can look at a piece, just because it's wet doesn't necessarily mean it's molded. So, but this is, as you can see, it's all rotted, but like I said, we spray everything down with mold kill over here in this corner as well. But this whole back wall, like, it is literally that bad. That once you take that window out, I really believe the rest of this will probably fall out. That's how bad it is. It's got a lot of water down there.
Well, this is some of the rot we got. You see the truss has gone there, and this band right here, that's what it is, the one that runs there. Basically a band joist in a way, because it collects up all the trusses. If it was a joist, it would be. If there was a joist, it would be a band joist. So, but it's just a band that collects them up, a ribbon, whatever you want to call it. They, every time I go in a different area, talk to different people from different areas, they call it something else. Same point. All this rot, this piece is all rotted. We just took it out, but you can just see all the damage on here. It's almost like a mirror image on the other side here. I get that band portion that's broke there. And then here, so what caused all this problem is when they brought the corner mold up, they dropped it down on the corner here, brought it up and dropped it down there. Then they had the turn bar and the camber was here. All that water just kind of pooled in those corners and just eroded all of the caulking away, and that's why it's soaked down in those areas. I'll show you what we got downstairs, you know, down the lower when I get down here in a second. All right, so you can see all that water pool down, driver's side, pull down here, and then all the, that's just some stock to screw the lights to. And then you see this, all this bottom, a lot of this is on the lower end. Obviously it's on this side, and then it just collected down here because this underbelly caught all the water and just rotted it. And then what happened, all that wicked up. So we're trying to salvage, I really would like to try to salvage this. We've already soaked it down with mold kill, but if I don't have to change all that out, that would be good. I'd still may be able to do that instead of tearing all that out and then trying to put a new piece of Luan in there. It just wouldn't match. I like to try to save the wallpaper, and I've had pretty good luck doing that. So we're going to try it on here. I got a tiny little rip here, so I could probably get that back too. I'm going to try, and then we're going to see how it all comes about. But like I said, we already soaked it down with mold kill and everything. We just got to let it dry out. So if you have water that gets in your coach, it will never dry out. And this has been in our bay over there for a few months at least, and you can see how wet it still is. It's not going to dry out until you open it up. So then we got the piece over there. All we did was just clean it up. That's the back pylon piece. We're going to salvage that and put it back on. And I like to do that so it looks original. And that's again why I don't want to mess with the wallpaper, because you know, if you go to sell these, someone may come in and the wallpaper isn't going to match. Even if you could find it, it won't match. It won't be the exact same color. It'll be a shading difference, I'm sure. And even on the siding, if you put new siding on here, but if you did and you go to sell it, you know, someone goes and looks at it, hey, what happened to your wall? Oh, this happened, that happened, but we had it fixed. And sometimes that's a red flag for a sale. You know, if everything still looks good, solid, and okay, people will be more apt to go, okay, at least it was taken care of. So, and not ask all those questions, because once those questions start coming up, then there aren't too many people that do things the right way. So, anyhow, that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to leave everything the best way we can, and then clean all this up, reframe it. Obviously, we've got to reframe all this, but we're going to try not to take all the window apart and all that nonsense. So, if we don't have to interfere with all that, it'd just be extra work unnecessarily. So, we'll get it. We'll show you what it looks like tomorrow. All right. If you remember, I was telling you how this corner mold come out and came over. That's where it came to. Isn't that funny, right? That's the size of it. And that's where it started leaking, right there. Same on the opposite side. That's the screw that held down that very first one of the end of it. So on here, you look at this, the plywood's got to sit on here. I'm going to get this camera down a little bit. This is how smart people are. You put a piece of plywood there, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to mash it down. What's it mashing into? That metal. I don't know if you can see that metal piece in there. So it's actually causing a crimp. So we're going to see if we can fix that problem, because we got to put sheathing back on it. So what we did is put this is just plastic loom. You can use either or, but We use plastic loom, but I want to fix that because I just noticed it and I said I don't want it like that, even though the guy put this in. We're taking all that out, and I've got to get this notched a little bit to get it to be lower than this. So got to do some sort of surgery there. We're doing that one. Then we had, oh yeah, there's another wire over here. So we're going to put in new insulation in this thing as well. Well, I get across the catwalk here. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Yeah, look at this one. This is a 120 line. Look how much has been digging into it. So we're going to obviously put protection on that. Some of the other ones are just going through wood. That's okay. But the metal, that's not. So we're going to get that. I think that's the only one that I see coming through the ceiling like that. All the other ones are coming up through there. Oh, you got a couple more here? Yeah. So we'll do the same here. And that's what's going to make these all compromised. So we got a piece in there. And then whatever other ones we have, we're going to check them all out, make sure they're all right. But they won't spend that a little bit of extra time and money to fix things. So now you get down the road, you go to flip a switch, it probably goes to your air conditioner or something, or an outlet, doesn't work. Oh, hey, you put a screws or something. No, it's because of this. That's why I like to rip up the roofs. We rip up all the roofs if we can. Certain ones we can't, like ply foam is a different type of roof system, but as a rule, all the roof decks come off, and then we try and check everything we possibly can. Like I said, even the duct work. So we got the tape right there. We're taping all these joints up, tape that whole box up. But we're going to get nice and tight before we put we'll put insulation in here, then we'll put the decking down. Well, we're getting the decking on. And we're gluing it all down. That's the way it's supposed to be done. Then what I do is I not only glue it here, I glue it that way so it glues the piece to that as well. So we'll get all that nice and tight and fastened. Then in the back, we had all that rot. We replaced all those pieces in there. And then I put in a solid, I got a solid truss right here. So I got that because I'm going to bring the roofing over this way and terminate it instead of on the roof like they had these ones coming up. That's just a water trap. So we're going to fix that. So we're moving along, gluing her down. Some of the other things you probably noticed is that we put in some, we've basically blown in insulation. What I like about it is it gets up underneath the trusses. It gets every little nook and cranny. So we also taped up all the ductwork, checked all the wires, did all the stuff we're supposed to do. So now we're just trying to get these last couple of sheets on. Yep. We're gluing her down. Alrighty, we have got the passenger side ready to roll. And you're probably going, hey, there's no glue here. There's no glue here. Nope, there's not. That's because we're going to have to flip this because we're still working on this wall. And then what we found out is the D-lam actually goes behind here now and also on the other side as well. So that's why we don't have this piece in. We don't have that piece in, so we're going to glue it. We're going to flip it so we can do all that work. At least we get most of the roof on. All right, let's rock and roll. We got a little bit of D-lam on this other side. On the top isn't as much as it is on the bottom. On the bottom it stretches a little bit more. But so we're going to epoxy that back together. We've got all the framing done. That's where the window goes. But on this side, we're going to have to probably remove this one because it stretches all the way back there to the slide out, pretty much. That's a little more expensive. So that one we're probably going to have to take out. Then this other side we can epoxy. But like I said, we got all this. We still got to fill it. There's so many daggone wires in there, you know. And then I think we also got to get inside and fix a piece on the inside as well. I'm going to check that out. All right, so we've got this all foamed in. All that's all glued in there. We're not going to be able to do very much with this, only because we try and get that all tight and try to squirt some product in there. If we ever had any issues, you'd never be able to pull the wire out. So we're going to leave that. It'll have plenty of strength in it. Obviously a lot more than what it did. Obviously more insulation in it. So we'll be all right with all that. But you can see all these wires. It just wouldn't be practical to do that. So we got all that set. We put a new truss on the top. We got all that. And then we fixed all this here. You can see all the glue on there. We already glued all this back together and put a fresh sheet behind here. So we got all that. And then we did the same over here. We had to epoxy this whole side, so that's nice and strong right now. So now what we're going to do is put the skin on here, and then we're going to get the siding on here. So that's our next step. All right, we got the back wall sheath We get that. Now we're gonna glue the pylon on. I'm trying to put this as the switch that operates the jacks up underneath there, the stabilizer jacks on each side. When you press the extend, it won't work. When you press the retract, you'll hear it want to try to come back up. But I think the switch is just gone. You can see all the corrosion in there, but also somebody been in here because you got some blue tape on this. On here, see the white tape, and that's the blue to the actual connector. That's not the blue tape. And then they got this one on here. The other one, it just fell right off. So I tried to, that one goes right to here. And then I had to solder this one on. I tried soldering just a little dot of solder on there to maybe that would do it, but it's not working. So I don't know what's wrong with it. It could be something in the motor. It could be something just hung up in there. I don't know. All we're going to do is just make sure they're all disconnected, so they don't short out or anything and cause a problem. We're going to push them back in here. Also, there's way too much wire. Whoever had this in here previously, you can see how the wires are all bent up right there, especially. And when you go to push it back in the wall, there isn't enough room in the wall. The wall isn't that thick. So it's not allowing the switch to go back there the way it should. But you're going to have someone take a look at this. This is kind of a little out of our wheelhouse. All right, we got the wall back together. Rear wall is complete. We also got this one back here on this side. We got that fixed. Then we got the other side fixed over there. Everything's all done. And I'm gonna go show you up top what the roof is like, and we'll be able to go. All right, there's our Copper Canyon. She's ready to go. We got our tag on here. So now we know how long this roof has been on there. When he goes back for inspections over the years, we can say, all right, it's been on there. We can monitor it. Or if he goes to sell the coach, you don't have to worry about someone trying to talk him down and say, oh, well, RV roofs, yada, 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 they all fail. And you go, hey, I just had that thing put on. I mean, you can clearly see this is not an RV roof anyways, even though it's on an RV. How ironic. So we also got the boots right here for the ladder. Those are little boots that we make. And then, because these ladders, they shake and rack and twist. And we showed you that we tightened up all these bolts right here. So we got the back wall back together. We got this side back together. We got to put a new awning on for them. So we're all set with all of that. And then we got a couple of stands in the back of the AC. It just gives it some balance. We put a brand new cover on here. The other one was all trashed. So then this piece here, that's a piece of counter flash I put on. So when the water comes down this way, up underneath here is a foam gasket. And even though the curb that we have, if the water's coming across, even as you're driving, and this does have some slope going down. This coach goes up, and then it kind of goes down like that at the nose. So now you have the water coming down. It would hit the curb and roll over, but you still got rain coming down. As that's coming down and the wind's blowing, I don't want it to get up underneath the bottom side of the AC frame and get near that gasket. I mean, the gasket is watertight, but it's just the way I roll. So what this does is it pushes it down below a counter flash, and I built in. So this is considered flashing right here, and this is considered counter flash, this piece. That's what's on all of the curbs. So this goes below that, so then the water will go around. That's how that works. So we got our boots on here for the plumbing, and these plumbing, if they pop off, this one here is not plumbing, that one is plumbing, and if they pop off on the plumbing, then they're just spring loaded, okay? So if it pops off, if this one pops off, it does need to be, you take this one, put it on here, or tape this up. This is a vent. That's plumbing. So we take the plumbing off. If that cap falls off, it doesn't matter. That's fully sealed. But what this is, so all these skylights that we have that are on your coaches, in the morning when the dew is on there is dew on the inside of this lens, on the inside. Now you have an inner lens as well. So what tends to happen is when the sun comes up, the sun will evaporate what's on the top, but it won't necessarily evaporate what's up underneath it. And it condenses it. And it creates it to kind of roll down the lens. It'll just kind of follow that. It's a water adhesion principle. It'll kind of roll right down. And it could get in this case, it could have gotten into the curb or could get into the roof deck. On your typical one, RVs, roofs that aren't ours, put it that way, it will probably get into, again, the roof deck, and it could get into your ceiling panel. And you may notice some staining around your inner lens on the ceiling. So the best way to do that, it's a manufacturer's defect. They're all like that, every one of them. So what I did is I designed this solar fan ventilation system. That's a solar fan, and up inside here is a trough. and I made some ductwork that fits inside there, and then that fan goes down, and then when the sun comes up to evaporate what's on here, that fan will kick on. When it kicks on, it starts, exhausting. It's pulling from here. So this, my point is that this piece, the air will flow just like this, up and over, and pull all that moisture out. But if that falls off, it will leak inside, period. So make sure, Mr. Customer, make sure if you notice this off, then make sure you have it, make sure you have put tape on it, or take that one. You can take this one off because this is just plumbing. This one here, that's on there pretty good. You can take the plumbing off or that plumbing off. You can take it and switch it because those boots are all sealed even around the pipe, so they can't leak. The only place they could leak is back into the holding tank. So we swapped out the crank-up antenna. We don't do crank-up antenna reinstalls. So if you're on your way here, or if you're thinking about coming here, keep in mind you will need new antenna. I cannot build a curb for those crank-ups. Those crank-ups that are up underneath, there's a shaft that goes up through the ceiling right here, goes up through the ceiling to the roof, and you got that little handle right there. If I build a curb for it, it's going to be elevated above the ceiling. You won't be able to get the handle on. So we always replace them with maybe a, you can use a Winegard's okay, a King makes them as well. They're a manufacturer for antennas. They make, this is a Winegard 8500 series. I don't know what the King ones are on an automatic. I don't know if it's just called King Automatic, but King also makes what's called a jack, and that's kind of like a bat wing, and it just rotates back and forth like this. And Winegard makes one as well. They almost look identical. The Winegard, theirs is called Z as in zebra, Z1. So we put covers on our vents. Those should be on there. It should be on there. One, it keeps the extra UV light off of the coach, and also the sealant. It's commercial grade sealant. It's not going to be an issue, but every bit helps. The other reason why I really like to see these on is because far too many times I've seen campers parked with those open just a skosh. And if you don't have them, and when you turn them and get them tight as you're traveling, the wind will go over them and they start to vibrate. And I've noticed that they just kind of seem to want to work their way open. You won't know it. You get out of the coach, you park in it, you go, hey, we're done. You went on your trip, you come back home, you parked it in your yard, that thing's open and it leaks. So then on this side, what we had to do is do two pieces, because it's got a lot of camber this way and it's got a lot of camber that way. So that, along with the camber here, and then all this camber, you're not going to get this roof system to do a three-dimensional position like this. You can get it two-dimensional, but not three. So we just stressed it out just as very much as we could to make it to this point. How do we continue? There would have been a bubble up there, and you'll probably notice that on some other videos from some other companies. And what they'll do is they'll try to force it, and it just doesn't work. I saw one company trying to do a what was it, truck bed camper? That's what it was. I think it was BT Systems, if my memory serves me right. And they ended up with a bubble up there. You can't get it out. Even if you try massaging it out and you see, well, I'm going to get it, it's going to come back. So that's why we do two pieces. This is welded back here 4 inches. Now, that's a pretty good weld, so it's not going anywhere. So other than that, she is ready to go. One of the other things we did on the back is, we wash this roof and then the dust, and we got these big exhaust fans because it's so hot in here. It gets it dirty quick. We replaced all these lights with, these are all LEDs now, so we replaced that as well. So the roof system in itself, this is a piece of the roof system, and this is, you can see those, like kind of that grid, the screen in there, that's called a reinforcement mesh, and that's what gives us its strength. So it's a nylon mesh that's in there, and it helps resist against hail. It helps resist against tree branches and things like that. It's going to be pretty hard to get a tree branch. It's going to have to be pretty sharp, pretty heavy to really plunge through this. Even if one did, bring it back and we'll do a patch on, a hot patch on it, and we'll get you fixed up. We do that for free for our customers if they're in the area. But we do leave a care package that you'll see. We leave a care package for the folks. This way, if they do have an issue, a tree branch does hit it, and they're like, hey, I got to get this stopped now. Even if it's pouring rain out, we show you how to do it. And then you can put the patches on there, then you can come on back and we'll take care of it for you. So that's the roof membrane itself. This is a 60 mil. This is a commercial roof membrane. This is what you're going to find on a hotel. You're going to find it on an office building, a library. Same exact material. This is actually a heavy material considering for an RV. Most, even on a commercial application, it'll start off at 45 mil, go 45, 60, 90, and I believe they got 120. And that's a real heavy, thick piece of membrane, sure. So this system, this roof system that you see right here, this is guaranteed to last and not fail for 20 years. That being said, the way we do our warranties here, now that's just the material. Every manufacturer works the same way. They guarantee the material. They don't know who we are. They don't know who the other guy is installing these on a commercial level. They don't know all that. So they just will warranty the material. They don't warranty all the accessories and welds and everything because they don't know who's doing the job, understandably. So we as folks come back for initial inspection. We like to say within 30, but no later than 60 days, 30 I say, but that's to let folks, hey, we'll usually send an email out, say, listen, you're up for your inspection. Give them another 30 days to get on in here so we can check. We want to make sure that everything is right. Everything is just the way you paid us to do it. These things rack, shift, twist a lot. And even if I got another Copper Canyon in here, just like this one, its twin brother, it's going to rack and twist and flex differently. And also the other thing is different terrains that you're going over. Some people may have a rougher driveway, or they may be out boondocking or something, which would cause the coats to probably go twist and flex yet a little differently. So we want to make sure it's all set, all set, and all obviously all water tight. We'll go back around, we check all the welds and all that. So after that, you come back once a year, annually. You come back every single year. We will renew the warranty for another year. So you come in, this is 22, comes in 23, we'll renew it from 23 to 24. He'll come in 24, we'll renew it to 24 to 25, right? That type thing. So that's how the warranties work. On this insert trim that's in here in the gutter, that's what this is right here. Here's your gutter. The insert trim on there, let me show you what that is. I'm going to show you what they typically use. Here's a piece. This is what they typically use. This piece here, and you can see if I get a little closer, you can see it just slides in there. You see? And what I don't like about it is when the gutter sits, it can get in that lower portion of that track down in there, and it can just run back and forth and all around. I don't like that. So what we use is this. And if you can see, this has a little groove on it right there, and it sits in that track. So it locks it from the inside of it, and it locks it from the outside of it. So this would be the way it would be sitting on the coach, right? That's the way it is, and it would lock everything out. So that we use all that all the time, and I have black as well. But we don't sell anything here. Just keep that in mind. We don't sell anything. Not one thing do we sell. We're not a sales shop at all. And also, these aren't DIYs. If you pick up a tip, great. That's awesome. But as a rule, these are not designed for that. There's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that I don't video that you need to know if you were really interested in doing this. That being said, we're working to try to get a school together. So, and it'll be right here in northwest Georgia, and we're trying to put it together as quick as we can. But we have a college that we're going to work with to try to help us get the program started. And then if folks are interested, then we can try and show. I can't do this forever, I know that, and I would just when I get real old and I go, hey, even if I sold it, it's still somebody out in Washington State. If we get someone trained out there to do these jobs, you don't have to drive all the way here. I mean, this particular coach is from Georgia, which is great, but I have some that come from Canada. I have some that come up from Florida and actually, Washington, California. They come everywhere. So if we had a shop closer to them, even if it was in Arizona, we'll say, or in Utah or something, that's a big difference in travel for sure. So that's what we're trying to do, trying to train some people up to do these systems here. So, and well, obviously when we get more information on that, we're going to put it up on either on our site, or I'll do another YouTube on it. But that's what we're working for. And the program that I'm trying to put together will show everything: how to do delam, how to recognize different delaminations, how to do rebuilds, how to do absolute rebuilds on like bunks and all sorts of stuff. It'll go over joinery, fasteners, adhesives. I mean, everything you need to know for the longevity of the roof. So again, we appreciate it, but just keep that in mind. These aren't necessarily DIY video, that's for sure. So we appreciate y'all watching. We'll see you on the next one. Care package. Right. So in our care package, we have caulking, we got primer,
we have got 2 patches. Those are heat patches. We got a patch, peel and stick patch. We got a checker tool. We've got a magnet. And the rest of this is just pens, keychains, brush, nozzle. Okay, so if we have a hole in the roof, and we'll simulate a hole. You can do hole simulations. We say we got a hole there. Here's your tree branch come through and you're like, oh man, I got a hole in my roof, it's leaking. What you want to do? And it's raining out. Right now it's raining. You're like, crap, I gotta stop that leak. You want to get in there, and if you can't get that nozzle in there, don't worry about it. Make it a little bigger. What you're trying to do, you need to get up underneath the roofing, like this. This is what we need to do, get up underneath the roofing. Then you're going to take and you're going to put this up inside there, and you're going to squeeze, 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 squeeze. Hopefully this thing is plugged up. There it goes. Just squeeze, squeeze. You want to try and get up underneath this part too. Squeeze up underneath there. Put some more underneath there. Well, we are getting this thing all boogered up. Then what we're going to do, you're going to push it together. See how it oozes out? That's sealed. You're done. This is a moisture cured product. So what? It's a hot mess. Looks terrible. Who cares? Keep the water out. So now, the next day, we're going to go up there, and that's going to be cured looking like that. So we're going to take a knife, and you just shave it down. Just shave it down with a knife. I'm just going to obviously wipe this off. Now you say, hey, I want something a little better than that. So what we're going to do is get some cleaner. This is a terrible rag. You got another one. You got one on you? Oh, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag. Hey, what are you doing? What you gonna talk about, man? Nope, just leave it alone. Oh, leave it alone right now. We're recording now? Are we on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alright, so now we cleaned it off with a knife. I just washed that up because it's still wet. Take that off. So now we got a patch. This is a peel and stick patch. We're going to take that, we're going to center it over there. Just take a pen and go around like this. I like to kind of put a dash like that so I know who's where, what, and where, and how. So now there's what I got. So in the package we got primer. We also have a brush. You're going to take that, you're going to go all inside the square. You're also going to go outside this square about 3/8 of an inch. Outside about 3/8 of an inch or so. Once you get that, there's a film on the back. You peel the film, now you know which side you are, see, because there's your marks. And you peel that film back. Get the fingers, fat fingers in there to get the film off of this thing. This is just a regular roof tape. That's all it is. We put them in all the care packages. Get that daggone thing off of there. Probably use some fingernails. Probably help. Come on. There it is. Okay. There it is. Now you got the film. We take that film. So now we're going to line it back up with this. We already got the primer under there. You just peel the film back, and as you do, you just rub it down like this. Sometimes that film will get a little stuck in there. This is just a butyl. You just kind of try to keep it as even as you can, as flat as you can. Boom, you're done. There it is. So now, out here, this is where your primer is. You put the primer on there. You got primer there, and now you're going to put primer here. You want to prime all this area with your brush. Prime all that. Then you're going to come back. Once you get it all primed, then you're going to put a little bit of caulking on it, just like this. That's simple. If it doesn't all sit in there, you can always take your finger and go around it if you want. We're trying to obviously stop a leak and make one of. There's going to be a little more permanent of a patch than just that plug that we did when it was raining. So now that we get that all done, the whole purpose of it is
this part here, this part underneath here, that's a butyl. When the sun hits that, if you didn't have the caulking on there, it will cause it to release and curl up just like I'm doing here. And it'll start coming loose. That's why you need the primer. That's why when you prime it, you're going to prime on top of this, because nothing will stick to it. Nothing, the caulking will not stick to this patch, and it won't stick to the roof unless you use the primer. That's how you do a patch. Ta-da! All done.